Hello everyone. I have this little quilt that's ready for binding, so I thought I would show you how I calculate how much binding I need. So we need to figure out how much binding we need, so we're going to measure all of our sides and then add those numbers together, and that is going to give us the full length that we need. My little quilt measures 33 inches by 18 and a half. So I'm just going to take all of those numbers and add them together. So to start, I'm going to go 33 plus 33, which is 66, and then 18 and a half plus 18 and a half, which is 37. And then we're going to have to take those two numbers and add them together. I usually wouldn't write this out, but I'm just doing it to hopefully give you a better visual. So once we've added those two numbers together, that's going to give us 105. But we need it longer than that because when you do your corners and you join your strips, it's going to be you're going to lose some length. So I'm going to add 15 inches to that, and that's going to give me 120. So I need a minimum of 120 inches. So then I know that I need at least that much. And then you're going to take this number and you're going to divide it by your width of fabric, and that's going to tell you how many strips of fabric you need to cut. So 120 divided by 42, because that is what my fabric is. Some are 40 and some are 44. So just make sure you check that before you figure this out. And then 120 divided by 42 will give me 2.8. So then you just want to round it up to the next highest number. So now I know that I need to cut at least 3 strips of fabric. And honestly, sometimes if I feel like I might be cutting it a little bit close, I will cut an extra strip because I'll rather have too much binding than not enough, because I hate adding it once I've already started cutting or put it onto my quilt. So my fabric is 42 inches wide here, as you can see, but that's with salvages. So I was a little bit like, I don't know if I'm going to have enough. So I did end up cutting 4 strips, and I would have had enough with 3. But like I said, I'll just use that in a different project. So you just want to cut your strips of fabric however many you need. I cut mine at 2.5 inches, but you can cut them however wide you want your binding to be. Some people prefer it a little bit narrower, some people prefer wider. And then we're just going to have to join these strips together to make a one continuous piece. And that's actually very easy to do. All I do is I take my fabric and I lay one right side up, then take another one and lay it perpendicular, wrong sides or right sides together, sorry, and then we're just going to have to sew a line, but we're going to go from outside corner to outside corner. I will draw a line on this one to show you what I mean. I usually don't draw a line, I just eyeball it. But if we sew along that line, and then when we flip it open, we will end up having a nice continuous strip. I prefer sewing them together like this because it does help reduce bulk in the long run. You could just sew them together like straightwise, but I prefer this method. And then I'm going to pin them in place. And you could sew them and then come and add your next piece, but I always just like doing it all at once. So I pin all my pieces together, and then I head over to the sewing machine and I chain stitch everything. So I'm just going to sew along that line, and then I will have a nice long piece of binding ready for my little quilt that I made for my sister, who is a makeup artist for a company called Saint. If you want to check her stuff out, I will leave her Instagram link in the description box below. I absolutely love their makeup. And no, I'm not just saying that because my sister sells it. I actually really do like it. I gave it a try. I just bought a little bit and I ended up loving it. And now I have a very big palette full. But yeah, feel free to check her out if you're interested. And there we go. Now I have my binding all ready. I hope you have found this video very helpful. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. One of the things that you can do before you actually sew it on is just double check that you have enough. So just by holding it like this and checking, that's what I do sometimes. And I think I will have enough without having that 4 strip on there, but that's fine. I'll just put that binding in my scrap bin. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Until next time.